Banks are built to look unbreakable. Thick glass windows protect the tellers, heavy metal vault doors, cameras watching every move, security guards walking around. But what if someone tried to get past all that security? Maybe there's a back door left unlocked, a low counter you could climb over, or a spot the cameras can't see. Jayson isn't after cash. He wants something even more important: access to the computers behind the counter. His tools? Not guns or masks, just clever tricks. Jayson Street isn't a typical cybersecurity expert. A Diet Pepsi addict with a penchant for red sneakers and leather jackets, he specializes in security awareness engagements, tests that prove how easily a smiling stranger can bypass locks, cameras, and human trust. Armed with fake badges, USB devices, and sheer audacity, Jayson doesn't hack systems. He walks right through them.
I don't mind getting caught, and if I don't get caught, I try to get caught by the end of the engagement, because I'm trying to teach the employees how to be better.
While you listen to this story, you may question the legitimacy of what he's saying. I know I have, so I will be providing photos and videos of him doing these things. The stories you're about to hear were all captured by his wrist camera, a button camera on his jacket, or closed captioned cameras in the bank itself. This story is based on the episode of the highly recommendable podcast Darknet Diaries. You'll find the links in the description. A few years back, a bank hired Jayson to do one of these security awareness engagements. They wanted him to test the physical security of a bank in Beirut. Jayson got on a flight and headed to the Middle East, and he arrives at the bank headquarters. It's a tall building, at least 30 stories high. There's a bank branch on the ground floor. The other floors are the bank's offices. Jayson heads up to the 20th floor, to a conference room. He started off with a meeting that morning, with a guy who wasn't very impressed with him, to say the least. Jayson is not good at making a good first impression, for some reason. But finally, he stood up and said, "Why don't I just go downstairs right now and compromise your branch downstairs?" That guy smiled, and they went down the stairs, and Jayson compromised his whole entire branch. But that guy is not impressed, and he challenged him again. Jayson accepted a challenge: breach 3 bank branches, steal credentials, and walk out with a USB. His tools: a blank ID card, a USB device, and confidence. Jayson is all set now, so he gets picked up by the driver and is taken to the bank. He goes to the first branch, and he literally just walks in. He walks exactly like he knows where he is going. He walks past the executive, and he reaches the manager's office where he's talking to someone. He's hovering just outside the manager's office, because he wants to look like he's meeting with the manager, so that when he moves to the next location in the bank, he's hoping someone will see him coming from the manager's office. Then he walked from there, straight into the executive's office, and tells her that, "Yeah, I'm here with the auditor. We're doing an audit on the computer systems from head office. I need to look at the computer." Because it looked like he had just come out of the manager's office, she bought the story and let him use her computer. The first thing he does is plug a rubber ducky into her machine. Rubber ducky looks just like any other regular USB stick, but it's actually an incredibly dangerous tool. When it's plugged into a computer, it tells the computer that it's a keyboard, and Rubber Ducky then proceeds to send pre-recorded keyboard commands to the computer. Rubber Ducky can be configured to create a remote control session to that computer by simply plugging it into a computer for only a few seconds. It can give a hacker full control of that machine from a remote location. But Jayson's Rubber Ducky only opens a notepad and types the word "hello" in it, because he doesn't want to actually hack into the machine. He just wants to test if the machine is hackable. Once he sees Notepad pop up, he takes a picture of the screen with his iPad, then takes the mouse, closes the window, and unplugs the Rubber Ducky. At this point, people are seeing him come out of her office. After coming out of the manager's office, Jayson is now hanging out behind the teller line in the bank. He's asked tellers if they can move out of the way, while he plugs in his Rubber Ducky into their computer. Then he takes control of their mouse and begins using it. He totally compromised this whole facility and had full carte blanche. And then he discloses his identity and educates them. The driver takes Jayson to the second branch, and he completed all objectives the same way and compromised the branch. The last objective is to get network access. The driver takes Jayson to the last branch. That was the simplest. He just walked up, and there was a lady cleaning offices. He tells her he needs to get into the network halls. He is doing some work for headquarters. She just opened the door, and that was very anticlimactic at that point. He took a picture of himself in their networking room and all their networking equipment, then left that room, closed the door behind him, and walked out of the bank. Jayson had easily broken into 3 banks in 3 days. He met back up with the executives that hired him. Their response was shocked. Literally, they were flabbergasted. It was just unbelievable to them that occurred. They were like, this cannot be real. Jayson teach them about his tricks and head back to the USA. Years later, Jayson returned to Beirut for another engagement, but this time, a simple bodily function would lead to his riskiest mistake yet. He'd already drunk a 1.5-litre bottle of Diet Pepsi. He had to go, really bad, distracted and desperate. Jayson ignored his liaison's warnings. He marched into the first bank he saw, convinced it was his target. But as he hurried upstairs to the restroom, he missed a critical detail. The sign on the door. It was in Arabic, and Jayson didn't know any Arabic signs or language. Minutes later, refreshed and ready, Jayson descended the stairs, only to find himself in a bank he wasn't hired to breach. But old habits die hard. He showed them a forged email on his iPad, but when a supervisor read the email, her face darkened. It wasn't just fake, it was addressed to the bank next door. He just froze. All he could say was, "This is unfortunate." Within minutes, Jayson sat trapped in the manager's office. 6 furious employees shouted in Arabic, security teams scrambled, and Jayson, armed only with a rubber ducky and jokes, faced a choice: talk his way out or face Lebanese justice. He plugged the USB into the manager's computer to prove it was harmless. Notepad popped up. Hello? But all he saw was their faces. Oh yeah, he just hacked their boss's PC, with witnesses. Escorted to the bank's headquarters, Jayson turned teacher again. For 2 hours, he explained every flaw they'd ignored: unsecured doors, misplaced trust, the danger of a smile. By the end, even the director of security laughed, but not before wiping every machine Jayson touched. As soon as he left, they closed that branch and did a forensic wipe on all their machines. Before leaving Beirut, Jayson did find the right bank and successfully broke into it. He gained access to all the computers in the first branch, including each of the teller's machines. He was tasked with breaking into 3 branches, and he had no problem with 2. One of the employees in the third branch stopped him from touching the computer. He showed them the forged email on his iPad. The employee didn't buy it and was suspicious. Jayson said he had more documentation in the car and asked if he should go get it. The employee said yes. This allowed Jayson to escape the branch. He was stopped, but not caught. He was proud of them for stopping him and made sure to speak highly of them in his report for being good at stopping him. And Jayson turned teacher again. Days later, airborne over the Mediterranean, Jayson finally breathed easy. His accidental breach became legend, a cautionary tale for banks worldwide, and a reminder that in security, the human element is always the weakest link. In a world where security hinges on human judgment, Jayson Street's accidental heist reminds us the greatest threats aren't in the code, they're in the mirror.